Well, hey, friends. I was so inspired after last week's podcast that I decided to dive into a topic that isn't going anywhere, you might be afraid of, but you really need to know how to use, and that is AI. I'm going to teach you my favorite ways to use AI in your business and with your patients. It's going to save you so much time. And the thing is, it's not going to go away. So we might as well just lean in. Let's get used to it. But I'm going to show you how to use this in your practice. It's going to blow your mind. Let's go. Welcome to the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Rhonda, your no fluff, tell it like it is business bestie for wellness practitioners like you who want to build a practice you love and make a bigger impact and make a little money while you're at it. So if you're ready to ditch the overwhelm, attract your dream patients, and finally run your practice with confidence, you are absolutely in the right place. Each week, we're tackling things from programs to patient retention to marketing strategies that actually work, sprinkled with a little sass, a lot of heart, and the step-by-step strategies that will help you grow. So grab your cup of coffee, your notebook, or whatever keeps you going, and let's build a practice and a life that you've always wanted together. Well, hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Ronda Nelson. For those of you that are new and you don't know me, one of these days, I'm just going to do a little recap. It's been so long since I've done a podcast and talked about what I've done and where I'm at and how I got here and my background and all of the hard things. Yeah, I think life teaches you a lot of hard things. I always say to my kids, listen, if you could look into the future, you would have wanted to never be born. And they laugh. And I'm like, well, it's kind of true. Like as a child, if you looked into the future and you could see all of the hard things that you had to learn along the way, we might not sign up for this journey. I don't know, but I am very thankful to be here. And I'm super thankful to be here with all of you. So, all right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about AI. I'm going to share with you some of my favorite ways to use it. And I think of new ways all the time. Sometimes I'll get stuck on a problem and I can't figure it out. And it doesn't occur to me to ask ChatGPT, lovingly referred to as Chatty. You've heard me talk about this before. But I think in context with what we talked about last week and even the week before, we were talking about creating your mission statement. Last week, we talked about goals, creating goals that are in alignment with your mission statement. Those are the little steps that help you get there. I thought that this AI topic was really fitting for kind of a follow-up to that because creating those goals, you might need some help knowing how to create them, how to architect them, maybe problems that you're facing in your business or with a patient. And so I thought this was a good topic. So we're going to just dive right in. I'm going to go through 4 different categories of, I guess, the way that you could kind of think of it as a vertical, like a bucket, that the questions that you might be able to ask Chatty as you go. The first bucket is patient-centered questions, patient-centered tasks, things that are focused in, on, and around your patient. The second bucket is going to be practice efficiency. How do you make the practice more efficient? How can we use ChatGPT to increase and streamline the way that we do business? The third bucket is operations. Now, you might think, well, that has to do with the practice. It does, but more specifically, operations has to do with the front desk, the operational part. A patient comes in, they interact with the front desk, and that front desk quote may be you if you're a solo practitioner, or you may have a staff person. But that operations is more the day-to-day stuff in the practice. And then the last one is marketing and visibility. Because the top 3 challenges that I hear all the time, I could close my eyes. I know exactly what you're going to say. I would get on a Clinical Business Academy strategy call and with someone who's thinking about joining, and I'll say, what are the 3 things that you struggle with the most? Almost everybody says exactly the same 3 things. You ready? You want to know what they are? I bet 2 of the 3 of these are you, if not all 3. Number 1, they'll say something to the effect of streamline, like They'll say, I need to organize my business. I need to streamline my business. I need more systems in my business, something along that line. They need organization. That's one of them. The second one is marketing. And marketing might be, I need more new patients, or I need to get on social media, which social media is a long game. It's not a right now game. It's a long game. It's a good game, but it's just a long game. And then the third one is related to the first two, because the third one is, I need to make more money. I want to make more money. I want to have a better income. I can't tell you how many practitioners I talk to that are making, $3,000 a month they're taking home. I'm like, no, no, no. We need you at $10,000 a month taking home that revenue. Oh my gosh, 100%. So it's really important that I identify how to solve those problems. Like, as a business coach, as a wellness practitioner coach in business, it's important that I help you solve those problems. And so the AI conversation that we're going to have today is going to help you do that. Are you ready? All right, let's go. First, let's talk about practice-centered solutions. These are things that are going to help you better support the patients, but it's going to save you time. And that's what we're after. When we meet with a patient, we say the same things over and over again. And we might be talking about diet. We might be talking about exercise. We might be talking about gluten. We might be talking about inflammation, about something with the digestive system, how the upper digestive system works. We say the same things over and over. And then we also spend a lot of time creating protocols, responding to emails, and poring over test results to be able to provide the type of service and care for the patient that we really want. But when we can bring AI into this conversation, it's like a good marriage, meaning that you're providing that unique specialty knowledge about what's going on with the patient, but AI is going to help you lay the groundwork and fill in all the rest of the blanks, so that now what you do is so much more beautiful. Kind of like a present that's just in a box with wrapping paper versus a present that's in a box and it has a really big, beautiful bow on the top. And it's very beautiful to look at. That's what AI is going to help you do, is create the beautiful bow on the top. So you can leverage ChatGPT, to create those resources for you. You can leverage Chatty to help you create training or figure out what kind of information your ideal patient or client, the person on your mission statement, what kind of information they might want or need. So when we talk about personalized care for a patient, hear me really clearly. I'm not saying you need to ask Chatty for your protocols. Now, truth be told, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I've done that before, because I just wanted to see what Chatty was going to tell me. And it wasn't awful, but it wasn't perfect either. However, when I did the several times that I've done that, I was very clear. I set the context, which I'm going to talk more about in a minute, but I set the context for Chatty. And then each time Chatty came back with one or two really good points that I had not considered. And they were good. And I thought, oh, I missed that. I should have thought of that. So don't use ChatGPT to create the whole protocol, because it's not a doctor. Your license, your credentials, your reputation are on the line. Don't do that. But I'm not against using ChatGPT to see if you can get some additional information and pull out the little pearls, the little nuggets of insight that ChatGPT might give you that will help you create an even better protocol. And you have to remember that AI is constantly processing massive, massive, massive volumes of information. So I was surprised one day. I asked, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry, but I'm just on a roll. One day I thought, I wonder what Chatty knows about standard process. So I thought, well, I'll ask. So I said, hey, good morning. I'm always talking nice, like it's a person. It's not, but I just can't help myself. Well, good morning. What do you know about Royal Lee? I think that's what I started with. What do you know about Royal Lee? I'm ahead of myself. And Chatty came back and gave me all the info about Royal Lee. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. I said, well, tell me a little bit about Royal Lee and standard process. Oh my gosh, Chatty knew all the things. Standard process started in, Catalan was the first product. It's made of these things. Then it went to this product, and then this product, and then da-da-da-da-da. Long, big, long thing. I thought, oh, this is interesting. So then I said, Tell me about MediHerb and standard process. Oh, Chatty just went to talking. I got all kinds of information from Chatty about that. And then I said, if I had a patient that was under stress, and I think I put stress, anxiety, and not sleeping, I think is what I said. A woman, I think I said mid 40s. What would you recommend? What do you think would be great ideas if I was just going to use standard process or MediHerb? What would be a great protocol? And I know those products really well because I used them for 20 years. And Chatty wasn't that far off. I would have tweaked it a little bit, like I said earlier, but Chatty really wasn't too far off. I was very disappointed that Chatty didn't choose the adrenal tonic, though. That was definitely a miss on Chatty's part. That's like a golden home run formula right there. But really, all in all, I wasn't disappointed. So you can use ChatGPT for so many things, even if it's just to give you just a little bit of an insight. Or another time I put a protocol in and I said, I'm working with the lady this age. These are the things that she's struggling with. This is what I'm going to put her on. Is there anything I'm missing? And Chatty came back and gave me a couple of ideas, and I didn't think they were that great, and I didn't think that they were relevant, but it was interesting that I could get that kind of feedback. So, all right, how else can we use ChatGPT as it has to do with patients? Well, one of the ways is by helping you create handouts and resources for patient education. One of the things, if you know, let's say you want to create a resource about, I would stay away from controversial topics like cholesterol. You and I have a very different opinion about cholesterol than Chatty will. So don't expect that Chatty is going to tell you that higher cholesterol is healthy. Don't go there. But if you wanted a resource about how food gets broken down in the upper digestive tract, that's just science, right? You can stick with that. We know that's going to be fine. And Chatty will give it to you. You could ask about, how does the sleep cycle work? And say, create that for me. And Chatty will give that to you. So use the AI to help you get at least a foundation for a resource. If Chatty can help you get it to the 80% mark and all you have to do is 20%, my friend, that is a huge win. Another one that I've used a lot, and I've loved this, I'm going to read you the prompt because I actually copied it from my ChatGPT conversation. This is my prompt. I said, create a 7-day paleo-based menu for a woman in her 40s with a young family and not much time to plan or cook. Include all 3 meals, including snacks, considering the needs of her young children. Then create a full shopping list with recipes for each meal. Shut up. Chatty over-delivered. I got descriptions about each recipe, why it's going to benefit, what the kids were going to love. Chatty even threw in some substitutions for allergies. It was amazing. So just think about the person that you're serving. If you want to create recipes or a meal plan, Chatty has access to all of that stuff. So let him help you. It's easy, so easy. The other thing you can do is you can upload a PDF of a test result. And be sure that you erase any identifying information for, HIPAA reasons, but upload the PDF to Chatty and say, please analyze this from a functional medicine perspective using optimal blood ranges. You could even ask beforehand, do you know what functional medicine or what optimal blood ranges are for functional medicine? How familiar are you with that? Just ask him and see what he comes back with. And if he says, yes, I am, and this is what it is, and here's the da-da-da, then upload the test and say, would you please analyze this through that lens? So it's a conversation, and I think where people miss it or get it wrong, I'll say, is by just uploading a test and saying, here, analyze this for me. Well, that would be like asking me to do that or someone to do it. I don't have any context. I need to know what's happening with the patient. What's the problem? How old is the person? All of those details help me deliver a better response to you. And AI is no different. So you have to make sure that you give context. You can also use different supplement brands in there. If you say, I'd like to use Biotics or I'd like to use Gaia. It was pretty good with Gaia. I will say not good at all. Not very good with Doctor's Food Research. And I think that's because there's not a lot of information online about the products other than ingredients. It was pretty minimal. So I found that I had to add quite a bit when I asked about food research products. But the rest of them, Chatty did a really good job. Another place in your business that is going to require some attention where ChatGPT can be really effective, and that is in practice efficiency. So there's so many little tiny details in a practice and the processes and procedures and streamline things and emails and all of that. And ChatGPT can really, really help you. So let me give you a few ideas about how you might be able to use ChatGPT in this way. You can ask Chatty to create your intake forms. I just did this not long ago in the med spa, and I was writing up something new on a new piece of medical equipment. And I was writing this thing up, and I thought, I'm kind of just drawing a blank. So I thought, well, I'll ask Chatty. It was a post treatment consent form, is what it was. I wanted to know what Chatty thought would be the things that a patient would want to consider after the treatment was over. Like, is there going to be redness or soreness, or, are you going to need more hydration or keep the skin moist or whatever? And Chatty nailed it. Had all kinds of ideas on there that I would have never thought about. That falls under the category of practice efficiency. So you can ask Chatty to create all of those types of documents, intake forms, processes like following up with patients. You can also automate some of these things. So for instance, you may ask ChatGPT to create an email for you to send to patients 1 week after they've seen you. That is one way that you could leverage it for just efficiency. It's communicating with the patient, but it's helping the practice be efficient. Oh, here's one. I wrote this one. I've not done this one, but I thought of it earlier today when I was prepping for this episode. So I'm going to read it to you. This is what I came up with. I've noticed quite a few patients who struggle with digestive issues have dropped off because they didn't see results soon enough. Please write a 3-part email series to check on these patients and encourage them to come in for a checkup. Genius. I pat myself on the back for that one. Because what happens when a patient drops off, it's a task you have to do, or you have to ask a staff person to do. Would you call and check on them? What's going on? Why did they drop off? Well, maybe we just email them. And to follow that, you could say, would you please write a short SMS message? And if you have the ability to text your patients, not from your cell phone, but from an actual texting platform, then that would be a great thing to do as well. You can also ask about, how do I improve patient retention, or help me track the metrics. What are the metrics that I need to be tracking in my practice? And then Chatty can help you kind of line that out. So there's probably no limit to what Chatty could do as far as that goes. Okay, now next one. We got to hurry. We're out of time. Operationally. So I mentioned this last week, but operations is like your front desk. So front of house, think of that. Front of house is your front desk. Back of house is in the treatment room. You're working with the patient on the backside. So on the operations side, you want to make sure that that front desk is really streamlined. Nothing gets dropped. Patients don't get dropped. Everybody gets followed through with. All the supplements get reordered. Your inventory is tracked. All those little details at the front desk. So one of the things that you could do is ask Chatty to create an FAQ for your practice that answers common questions. Now, if you just go into ChatGPT and say, please write an FAQ for my practice that answers the most common questions, you're going to get crap back. That's a really bad prompt. You want to develop it out and give it context. Chatty, I need an FAQ that answers the most common questions that patients ask. I want to put this on my website, and I want to include it in the footer of my email. Here are the top 10 most common questions that patients ask me. Please write a response through the lens of functional medicine as you think I might communicate it to my patients. Now you've given Chatty some context. Now, it may not come back at 100%, might come back at 50% if Chatty doesn't know your voice, your tone, who you work with, etc., or more details about them, but you're going to get closer than you would have if you were just staring at a blank piece of paper. Another one is to upload your new patient intake form. I do this all the time. I ask Chatty, what's missing? It's one of my favorite prompts right now. I'll say, tell me how to make this better. What's missing? What do I need to add to make this more comprehensive? Every single time Chatty comes back with things I would have never thought of. So that's one of my favorites right now, is what's missing? What would make this better? And then another one that's good is create a patient satisfaction survey to collect feedback after a visit, a patient satisfaction survey. They're really easy to send. You can set it up like using Typeform or another, question answer type software. But the patients can answer anonymously or they can leave their name if they want to, but it gives them an opportunity to give feedback about how you did. Sometimes we don't ask because we don't want to hear. But when you hear, you can improve it. You can't improve what you don't know about. And that's vital, really important. So getting that patient feedback is so important. And not everyone will fill them out, but for the few that you do get, it makes a big difference. As a business owner, I always say anytime you get a survey from a business, fill it out because I always say that's good karma, right? You're being a good survey filler outer. You want your patients to be good survey filler outers too. All right, we're going to land the plane. Marketing and visibility is the kind of the fourth bucket or fourth way that you can use ChatGPT. And this one's really pretty easy. Most practitioners need help with marketing anyway. So this is an easy one to say, hey, listen, let's say you decide you want to blog. Let me back up. You decide you want to write a blog or you want to have a blog on your website for SEO. People don't typically read blogs, but they're very, very, very good for SEO for your website. But there's a few tricks to it. One is most people don't even know where to start. That would have been me. So if I was in that situation today, what I would do is say to ChatGPT, I would like to start adding regular blogs to my website. What do I need to know to get started? I'm not going to start and ask ChatGPT, please write me a blog about for 40 something women. You're going to not get a good response. So you start with the basics. I don't know anything. Can you help me? Tell me where to start. Then Chatty will come back and give you all of that information. And then you're going to say, okay, that's great. And you can talk back and forth and ask more questions and get clarification if you need to, etc. Then I would say to Chatty, okay, look, here's my people. My people are 40 something women. They're exhausted. They have young children and they struggle with digestive issues and anxiety, let's say. What are the most common questions they're searching for online? Chatty's going to know that. And then I'm going to say, what blog topics can I create around those questions? Chatty's going to give you all of that. Just laid out all the blogs for your 40 something person. It's genius. You didn't have to think of any of it. And then once you have all those topics, then you say, okay, Chatty, for this topic, please write this blog for me. And Chatty's already told you, right, what you need to know. So he'll tell you, you need to ask this and you need to do this and then this, and there's meta tags and all the things. Chatty will tell you all of that. And once you have all that content, then you say, okay, now what do I do? Right? Now what do I do? Then Chatty will say, okay, well, you need to do this, this, and this with the headers. It's real simple. It's like chapter headings, and a header is H1, header 2. It's real simple, like on a Word document or a Google document. It's real easy. He'll tell you all how to do it. And by the time you're done, you might spend, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and you will have a beautiful blog all done and ready to go. You can even ask ChatGPT to create the artwork. Be careful because Chatty often will create artwork of people with like 6 fingers and 3 eyes, and it's not quite, great at that. But you could ask anyway. So that's how you do that. You just keep asking questions, keep giving input until the output is what you want. Because if the output isn't what you want, it's because you didn't give good context. So if you said, write a blog about 5 natural remedies for indigestion, that's general enough. Chatty could probably do that. But if you said, write a social media post about digestive health, too vague. But if you were just asking Chatty about writing a blog about 5 natural remedies for indigestion, now Chatty has all that conversation kind of saved in that thread. Then you can come in and say, okay, now for that blog, I want to promote that blog. Please write for me 3 social post captions. Done. Now Chatty's got all that context because he just wrote the blog for you. Does that make sense? So it's not about just asking a question and expecting to get this really great answer. It's about having a conversation and giving context about what it is that you want. You can ask Chatty for lead magnet ideas for your 40-something woman. The list is kind of endless. So here's kind of your homework. You ready? I want you to think about it like this. If there's something happening in your business and you don't know what to do, this quick think, I'm going to ask Chatty. You may get junk back, but at least try because it will help you start to think about the problem differently. Here in the med spa, a couple, 3 months ago, I was trying to put together some packages. And because people in med spas, that's kind of what they do. Always looking at a package. And it's usually a little bit less expensive to get a package of things, right? So I couldn't figure it out. I was really stuck. And I said, okay, here's the retail that I have. And I uploaded a list of all the retail items I had, like skincare products and all the other retail things. And I uploaded the list. And then I said, Chatty, here are the things that we do. Here's all the treatments that we do in the med spa. Please create 15 packages for me and give them really sexy, cute, fun names because I need to have it be fun. I love that. They needed to be super fun and write out for me what's in it and a description. And it was like watching magic happen. And within about 10 minutes, I had more packages than I even knew what to do with. So even if you think, how's Chatty going to help with that? Probably can. So your homework, you ready? Here's your call to action. Just ask yourself this next week and ongoing, like, what would Chatty say? If I asked Chatty, what would Chatty say? And don't be embarrassed that you don't know. It's okay. Just ask. And again, if you don't get good output, it's probably because you didn't provide enough context. Just go back to the drawing board. Sometimes I've done that. I'll say, I think I blew it. I didn't give you enough context. Let me start over and provide more context. And then I'll type and type and type and type and type. And then almost always I get much better output. So that's how you use AI. I hope this was really, really helpful for you. To wrap it up, I have a love-hate relationship with it. But I will say this, it's kind of like when cell phones came out, we were not sure about this whole thing. And when the internet came out, we weren't sure about this whole thing. When email came out, we weren't sure about this whole thing. And I can see that the AI could definitely be used for, evil, well, I'll say. But I do know this, that so many people are using it and it's become now part of the fabric of what we do and who we are, that if you don't use it, you're going to get outpaced. Unfortunately, it's just what's going to happen. You will get outpaced. Someone else is going to come in and take over your market. Someone else is going to come in and have better programs, better resources, better trainings, better programs, better packages, better experience because they're using AI to help them create that. And you're over here still trying to figure it out with a pencil and paper. And that's not going to work out for you. And I don't want you to get left in the dust. So I do have a healthy, I'll just probably say a healthy fear of AI, but I also know that it's in business. If we don't begin to adopt this, then it's going to become much more difficult to be successful in business. So with that said, on that Debbie Downer note, let's see if we can bring it back up. Go use Chatty. Yay for Chatty. Thanks for hanging out with me, friends. All right, friend, if you are here and you are brand new, welcome to the party. I know we just have so much fun here on the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure that you get on my list because you're going to get more tips and strategies and practice growth things and all the things. So jump on the list, go to rondanelson.com/join. That's all you have to do to get on, but there's been so many new people that have been listening. So thank you and welcome. And for all my OGers, you guys have been around forever. Love you to the moon. Thank you for showing up every week and being such a loyal listener to the podcast. I am so incredibly grateful for you. So have an amazing week. Thanks for being with me. And I'll see you next week on the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. Bye for now.